You know, people want to have the ability to live and survive and have a job, right? Not, hey, I wish things were cheaper. Oh, yay, you're going to put me out of work and now everything's cheaper? Great. I still can't afford any bloody thing. That's not what people want from their government. That's not what people want from central banks. But unfortunately, that's what they're going to get.
Mr. Whitaker, what's on the show today?
Oh, have you thought about Christmas shopping yet?
No, absolutely not.
Exactly, and I don't want to either, and that's the thing. But someone who is thinking about that is the retail sector.
Okay.
That organisation or that selection of people in terms of business. With, of course, the interest rate hikes that have happened this year, many of those are starting to think, well, how are we going to budget for Christmas? And they're trying to put food on the table. With inflation as well, a bit of a double-edged sword economically for many people. And this is where, you know, if you're on a capped income, this is where it's difficult for an employee. And if you're already maxed, stretched at the beginning before all the interest rate hikes, it's an interesting scenario to be in, a tough scenario to be in. What's happening in the retail sector is, of course, the Black Friday sort of sales. Now, it's kind of interesting for Australians because this is something they've kind of adopted from the United States. It never wasn't really a thing here. Why do they call it Black Friday? Well, it's because it's
racist.
Many retails would get in the black. And out of the red, that's where it originates from.
Right.
In the United States.
I thought it was because they blacked out the windows. Okay, there you go.
No, it was because after Thanksgiving, they would have sales in the US, and many businesses would then, because of those sales, go in the black. So it's purely accounting nerd speak. And for some reason, Australia has adapted that because we love to have sales over here. Not that we celebrate Thanksgiving. And
no, we're just still everything that's American. So
that's right.
I don't think we've ever had an original idea for a very long time.
It's like Americans celebrating Australia Day. You know, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, we do steal everything. You're right. Okay, the Americans,
we sold the America's Cup.
Well, 1776, they got it started. 12 years later, we thought, oh, we'll have a crack at that. It looks all right. You're right about the America's Cup. 132
Not only did
years.
we lose the America's Cup, but we lost it to New Zealand. Right, and we lost
because New Zealand steals everything that's Australian.
That's right, but we lost our yacht as well. Remember what theirs was named? Anyone remember? Black Magic. So that's another bit of racism.
Oh,
up there.
Didn't know that one.
That's why is everyone so racist here? Like, come on, black. You can't say that. That's cultural appropriation.
That's right. Give everybody Wilson to talk about it. Well, ethically challenged delusion or something.
I'm just not turn up that mic.
What's interesting about the retail sector now is that they are actually having pre-sales before Black Friday.
Yeah,
they're trying to get in early, which kind of gives you a perspective of where retail is at. They want to capture the market before everybody spends their money. I think that's where they're coming from. And they're thinking, if we get in earlier before the early.
Yep.
So it was kind of like this Christmas. Christmas used to be when I was growing up with kids. Everything was expensive pre-Christmas, up to Christmas.
Yep.
Then after that, you had the post-Christmas sales.
Went crazy.
Now retail's changed. Yeah. Now you got the Boxing Day sales. But these days now you've got the Black Friday sales. So you've got sales before Christmas or leading up to Christmas.
Yep.
Now we're heading towards pre-sales before Black Friday. And it just says to me, hey, we better grab that money because otherwise they're going to spend it with someone else. It's kind of the mindset of where many of these businesses are at.
I thoroughly agree. But
well, also consider that they want to get rid of their inventory before the end of the year, because, they're going to go in and they're going to run audits on all their inventory and for reporting, end of year reporting. So that was another reason that it has gone to this as well. Yeah, is to get rid of as much inventory as they can.
It's funny because our financial year is different in Australia than it is in the US, Kimberly. I don't know if you're aware of this. We don't have an end of financial year on the 31st of December. Ours is on the 30th of June and begins on the 1st of July, just to confuse everything.
I just love Derek's American accent that comes in every now and then, like us.
I'm half and half, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I know that you have American citizenship, so it's
American. He was born in America.
everything too is about
He's
a Hallmark
unique.
card, right? They're going to make as many holidays as they can to sell more Hallmark cards. So, you know, it's stupid. But Black Friday.
Kimberly, what are you, a business owner? You should be thrilled to have a few more public bloody holidays. You don't have enough in America like we have over here. So stop complaining. Go buy
I hate anything that deals with
holiday.
I hate anything.
Before you start squabbling, I just want to find out of the people who are actually watching online, because we are going live to the Facebook page, Twitter, Twitch. Sorry, we're not going to Twitter yet. We're going to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and also the Pod TV network as well. So anyone who is watching online, please send us a comment. Have you done your Black Friday shopping yet? Have you even started looking at Christmas? Because I can tell you what, I've just done my daughter's birthday. She just turned 9 on Friday on the weekend. So happy birthday to Celeste. I love pre-Black Friday sales because it just means we got her birthday presents half price.
How nice is that?
I thought it was brilliant.
Look, I'm going to.
She's been born at a convenient time, so you've got to
very much so.
Yes. By design, absolutely by design. Isn't that right, Derek? God had his plan.
These numbers for me were written before my mother.
I'm going to throw this in.
I will say, I actually don't buy it though. I don't think that they're actually going to have all these pre-sales. They have sales at certain times, Thanksgiving, etc., etc. But all this stuff that's going on in Australia, the Black Friday and the this and that, blah blah, we might as well have a Thanksgiving sale in Australia just to give the retailers an excuse to sell more shit. I'm not buying it. You want to really tell me that all the leftover stock that's left over after Christmas is not going to be cheaper than any of the other sales that we've had during the year? Of course it's going to be.
Yeah.
And if not, you just Google it and you'll find it on sale somewhere else.
Well, that's the funny thing. Is it buying online cheaper now than a physical store? I don't know that it actually is.
No, it's not. It's not. So
it used to be, but things have changed.
Well, we got Celeste for her birthday. We got her a trampoline with a tent inside it, so they can actually camp in the trampoline, and it's got a mister in it, so it won't get stupid hot. You just turn the sprinklers on, and it's got its own sprinklers inside. So to buy it,
sleeping, is that?
Yeah. That's the alarm clock. When they wake up in the morning, they start bouncing to wake all the rest up. So online, it was like
I want to go to that party, man. That sounds
you're
cool.
invited this Saturday. So it was $699 out of 50% discount. Then through the same company, we got it in Perth, no delivery. We just had to pick it ourselves for $645. So it was actually cheaper to buy it in Perth at the same company than what it was to buy it online.
Happens all the time now.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
And they had stock. We didn't have to wait 3 weeks for delivery.
Now, as much as I love Celeste, and she's awesome, and I'm glad it's her birthday.
She's just in the other room.
I know. Can we talk about finance, though? Here's an idea.
She's my biggest expense at the moment. Like,
I love it a bit, but I want to talk about the fact of, okay, let's be very honest. There are so many people right now who are having a horrendous problem, okay, with money. Interest rates have gone through the roof, all that sort of thing. Look, most of us are finding at least a minimum of $300 a week, shortfall that we're having to make up, right? That this has happened in the last few months.
Why do you think there's so many people driving for Uber at the moment?
Oh, now we're going to hit Christmas. We're going to hit Christmas, right? Okay, I'm sorry, but there's going to be coal under the tree at this rate. This is ridiculous. We haven't seen.
You've got a tree?
No, I don't have.
Well, I want the coal. If there's coal under the tree,
I'll take the coal.
So easiest.
That's right. Good point.
Just be one of the 1.2 million people coming to Australia. Like, you don't need coal for Christmas in Australia.
No, you don't.
No, you need water.
I'll address some of that. I'll address something. Oh, sorry, Travis, Aaron. If you want to continue, I'll address some of the things you said when you finish.
No, let's go. You go there. Hit it,
well, so look, first of all, and I've said this on previous shows, the Federal Reserve of the United States, the Reserve Bank of Australia, Bank of England, most of the major central banks in the world, and most of the governments, left wing and right wing. So I'm not going to blame Albanese. I'm not going to blame Biden. Although I do personally, but I won't do it right for this at this particular moment. What did they say they were going to do? They said they were going to crush demand. And the way to crush demand is to increase interest rates so that people that own homes are paying a much more significant amount in their mortgage repayments. We've copped $200,000 a year on our loans because of the mortgage rate increase, the interest rate increase. Okay, so you're going to crush families that are just trying to pay off their own home. you're going to drive up the unemployment rate. You're going to make it harder for small businesses to start or to access credit. You're going to make it much more expensive for them to do so. All of that leads to a higher unemployment rate. A higher unemployment rate means less money for people to spend. Less money for people to spend means retail prices have to come down. And all of a sudden, you have a lower cost of living. Not the way that anybody wanted, but, there was a really low cost of living in the 2007-8 years in the Great Recession in the United States. Prices came down really significantly. Now, I don't think that's where we want to go, but that's what we're going to see because of these terrible policies. The other thing I will just say, though, prior to 2007-8, the average interest rate in this country and around the world, around the Western world, was around that sort of 4, 5, 6% rate.
Yes.
And after 2007-8, we started to complain that they were actually ripping off the savers. The interest rates had fallen so low in order to bail the banks out. And, the banks, the big bad bankers, the ones that blew up the economy. So what we're actually doing is we're ripping off the older generation who rely on that higher interest rate on their life savings. And we're forcing them to take high-risk investments such as putting their money into the markets, which they don't want to do. So isn't that unfair? Now we have the situation where interest rates have gone back up to a more normal rate. We have an aging population and everybody's complaining again. Much like I said a couple of weeks ago to Kimberly with her complaint about trickle-up economics. And, 20 years ago, you complained about trickle-down economics. What do you want? So I think it's a difficult situation to solve, but I think that the proposed solutions is exactly what everybody doesn't want them to do. People want to have the ability to live and survive and have a job, right? Not, hey, I wish things were cheaper. Oh, yay. You're going to put me out of work and now everything's cheaper? Great. I still can't afford any bloody thing. That's not what people want from their government. That's not what people want from central banks. But unfortunately, that's what they're going to get.
Well, I want to add something. The prices of cost of living have not gone down. I'm just going to point that out. I grocery shop now, and I have noticed that the prices have not gone down. And, the interest rates are still going up, crazy going up. I have a lot of friends that are in a little bit of a panic mode that had variable interest rates with HELOCs, which was a poor investment at the time. It's just a scary situation. And you know what? I wish they would work more on getting rid of the demand for drugs on the streets than, the demand on the things that they said that they wanted to crush, because it's not helped. It's not helped at all. Nothing.
Can I just say that if we're going to talk about drugs on the streets in the US, which is slightly off the topic, I believe, and I don't want to be all conspiratorial, but I believe this is done very, very deliberately. Okay, yes. Because the prices, I saw this documentary, I think it was Vice or one of them, and they were talking to this street dealer, and he said, I can buy $400 of fentanyl and I can make $100,000, right? That's a pretty good rate of return on your money.
What
right?
a margin.
So, I think that there is so much money in this. There's so many people in government and so much corruption. That's the only explanation I can find. One of the things, for example, that we know is that a lot of people, even I dare say most people that get addictions to opiates, do so after they've sustained a really bad injury and they've been prescribed opiates, and then the doctor has taken it away from them and they can't function properly. They're not weaned off it. They're not given anything, and they just feel like they need it so badly, and then they end up hitting the streets and they end up getting it. Now, we've known that this is a big portion of the opiate abuse that goes on in Western countries. We've known about this for 30 years that I'm aware of. So why are they still doing medicine that way?
I'm very clueless. There's no alternative. There's no alternative. It's all about pharmaceutical. And, the other really, I'm just frustrated over is how they wrongfully reported on the gas crisis here in the United States. There was never not enough gas here. We've always had more than enough. And I keep trying to tell people that because I attend the world leaders gas, oil, energy meetings every year. And that's never been a problem. The reason why the gas prices escalated wasn't because of the demand was so low. It's because the owners wanted to line their pockets. And they did so. They more than doubled lined their pockets in the past 2 years. And it's really funny because I kept mentioning this and nobody believed me because media reports on it, but they're never even there at the conferences. But somebody from the conference did show up to one of our shows and they asked him, is there really a problem? Kim always says there's not. He goes, oh, absolutely not. There's never been a problem with the demand here in the United States because we've always pumped enough. And during COVID, we pumped a lot and never used. So the whole thing about there wasn't enough gas, and that's why the prices have gone up, is a out and out propaganda. It's lies.
There's been plenty of gas. There's been plenty of gas.
Plenty of hot air too.
And I want to.
Well, here's a
I'm
question
glad you brought
for
that. I'm glad you brought that up, Kimberly, because if you look at what the crude oil price was, it was over $90 a barrel US, right? It's now down to about 76.45.
Is that
barrel,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So this should be the Christmas present for everyone. But as Kimberly's pointed out, prices at the grocery store have stayed up.
That's right.
So why isn't there being a little bit of an adjustment there? Well, why would you if you can charge more and people are prepared to pay for it?
Well, they don't have a choice. They have to because everyone's doing it. Now,
That's
just
right.
going back to the fuel prices,
Yeah,
especially
we're
in
paying
Australia.
like $2 a litre for fuel, and if you
Come on,
drive,
I drive a diesel. It's $2.20. Like
I
that's per
drive
litre, Kimberly. So that's what $17 a gallon.
I drive a sports car, so you don't have
it's
to
about
for me to fill my tank. And I can tell you, like, if you have a look back when oil prices were at like $150, $160 a barrel, our fuel prices weren't this high then. Now, in fairness, the Australian dollar has dropped in value since then against the US, but even accounting for that, these prices, that they shouldn't be where they're at. I can't see a justification for it.
There isn't one, considering there's nearly 40 cents a litre as government tax excises. If you were to scrap that for 12 months, it costs only like $6 billion. In the Australian budget, we have like a $20 or $22 billion surplus. So we can afford to do that. And every single person that I know of, they drive to work, they drive to the shops, they drive for the kids' sports on the weekends. That is something that will help everyone across the board,
Look,
with no discrimination
but it'll
whatsoever.
bring down the price of your groceries as well, right?
Yeah, because
Right
it makes
now,
transport easier
Absolutely,
and cheaper.
of course. Now it's time for a break, everyone.
All right, turning to the next story. It's been an interesting week as far as the computing world is concerned. I find it fascinating that SAMs are always attached to these stories. We had, of course, Sam Bankman-Friedman with crypto. Now it's turned to a different Sam of the Altman variety, who was the OpenAI CEO, and he's quit. And no one's quite sure what's going on with the former OpenAI boss. And people are speculating as to what's going on and how is the world going to change through AI. I like how this article that I found on Yahoo Finance has put it. There's the doomers and there's the boomers as far as AI is concerned. The doomers, the world's going to come to an end if we embrace AI. It's going to be terrible. And then there's the boomers say, hey, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's going to make work efficiency. It's going to change. It's kind of like a whole change of the whole internet. Now, let's face it. Our lives were very different pre-internet days.
They were awesome. No evidence of all the things that I got up to. It was fantastic.
There's an old saying, if you want to know what you got up to in the 80s, run for politics.
Yes, good point.
Yes. And it was great. You go to a party, and if you knew if you were photographed, it wasn't going to be all over social media.
Well, that's right.
You know,
and anyone who took a selfie, they were a little mentally, they're on the edge.
Yeah, exactly. And
generally, they were the ones that did the duck
the Edge
faces
radio,
too.
is that what they were on?
Boom, boom.
With a shirt like that.
then you get this disruptor called the internet, which has changed business, changed media. Look at us now. And you wonder how much AI is going to play in that, how much it's going to play into changing the finance markets, the world markets. But when you've got government going, look, we want some, that they've approached AI and gone, look, we want some assurance that there are some safety measures in place here before you develop this further. Meantime, you've got your competitors trying to scramble to keep up, whether they be small players or big players. You've got small players saying, here's an open opportunity.
Sure.
Let's go for it in the space of AI. Then you've got the Microsofts of the world going, we really need to double down. And, of course, the Facebooks of the world, we got to double down and get into this space. Otherwise, we don't want to become the next dinosaur.
Oh, that's right.
It's a really interesting space. And, of course, IT moves at the speed of light.
It does.
And legislation scrambles keep up with it. I want to put this in. Look, we don't know what this Sam has done or why he's quit. And there's some stories that were coming out that he's back on the scene, back in the offices today. World of open AI. Is it something do we embrace? Are we boomers on it or doomers on it?
I'm a doomer.
I'd throw it out to our audience as well.
I'm a doomer
personally,
on it.
I think we should throw this to Kim, considering her
Very good
background
point.
on IT communications and all that. So let's throw it to you, Kim. Are you a boomer or a gloomer? Or just good looking?
Okay, we just need to be careful. AI is only as intelligent as the humans who are programming it. Remember, it's collected data that we use. It was intended to make and improve our quality of life. It was not intended to replace humans, which is what we continuously try to do, and that's the biggest mistake. And, just even recently, there was a robot that killed a human. So, I mean, we just need to be very careful on how we're using it and why we are using it and who programmed it, okay? That's all. That's the most important part right there.
See,
and
there's
I
my
think
fear.
that
There's
we
my
are
fear.
moving. Yeah, we are moving towards, what they all call singularity. I'm not very good at pronouncing some words, but right, and that is kind of scary because that's the way a lot of these global leaders want to move. And I always tell people, if you've got a president of a company who's trying to drive you to build something to replace your job, replace his.
Yes,
You're the
absolutely. Yeah, okay, hang on. Here's a great.
Hang
I know this isn't big scary AI, right? But okay, I was in a restaurant the other day, and the little robot brought my meal out, and I can't tell you how much I hate that, and how much I wanted to get out of that place immediately.
I think that's hilarious.
No, I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Right? I like the interaction with people. I like people. Right?
So robots can interact now as well.
Sorry. You know what? And what I was actually very lucky.
That Chinese restaurant?
Pardon?
Was
No, it's Japanese. If it's a robot serving, it's definitely Japanese.
It was Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah. I was very lucky. I was actually served by a human being, right? But I also did see a human being bumping into that stupid robot that walking around.
Hang on, did the human bump into the robot, or did the robot bump into
I'm going to blame the robot.
Yeah, of course. Always blame the robot because they can't defend themselves.
But my point is,
humanist.
I know. People deserve to have jobs. They need to have value in their lives, right? And it's not just about making money. It is about literally, getting out of bed every day and having value of your life. And I think that if you keep replacing, look, you can't go. Not that I go to a lot of fast food places. I generally don't. Okay.
Really?
No, I genuinely don't. Okay. I know I set myself up purely with my appearance on that, but I don't. Okay. I don't eat a lot of fast food. But okay, people complain all the time about the service is so bad and lots of. Well, okay, it's.
I can't help myself. Is it because you can't catch it, so you have to go for the slow food?
What are your thoughts on AI? Go on.
Well, let me just say firstly to Kimberly, I can just tell. No, put me back on. I want to see Kimberly's face when I'm saying this. So I can just see like the feminism, which is just like seeping out of her when she says, "You've got to be careful about AI because it's about the people that programmed it." And just because men are the majority of the people programming this game doesn't mean it's bad yet. Okay. But no, I will just say in relation to Aaron's comment about being served by robots, and now my friends in America are telling me that when you go to some places, the robots have the bloody audacity to ask you for a tip.
I know.
Really?
That's the bloody men programming it.
Exactly. I am not tipping
Damn
you,
capitalist
bloody
pig robots.
Hey, robots got to make a living too.
How long until there's a robot on the corner?
You guys have heard about where the guy, sued, or they sued because the guy decided to leave his wife for the computer and things like that, right?
So
Yeah, it happens.
I'm sure you've heard all of these horror stories, right?
I don't know. I've been married 2.5 times,
Eric.
and so therefore, to me, that's not a horror story. But anyway,
Only in America.
So
it's
I want
really
to
interesting.
come back to Aaron's comments though about the future. I understand it sounds scary, but I'm not actually too worried. It is a tool that we can use. With all these really are advanced algorithms, so I don't think they can displace us completely. And what I have to say is, I don't think we should have government or anyone else hold back progress. I mean, once upon a time, we used to have books written by hand, and when they started to bring out the printing press, the complaint at the time was that anybody could print whatever they wanted, and it, would corrupt the minds of the young. And that's then progressed to, internet blogging and so on and so forth. When internet blogging came out, oh, look, anybody could do that. So I'm not too worried. I think AI can be a tool. And as for jobs, yes, we have to be concerned about jobs, but not artificial jobs. This is one of the arguments that I know I'm going to get flamed and get a whole heap of hate mail for this. But, if Walmart wants to go and put a big store in somewhere and it displaces the local mum and dad, grocery store, are you prepared to pay the extra money to go to the mum and dad grocery store? Obviously, you're not. You're not prepared to. Well, you might be, but there's not enough of you who are prepared to pay the extra money, who are prepared to say, well, look, I can buy exactly the same can of tuna, and I can buy it at Walmart for 80 cents, but it's going to cost me $2.20 down at the mum and dad corner shop. There's not enough people that are going to do that. So that extra money that you're paying is paying for the wages of the people or the jobs for that family. Now, that's an unfortunate reality of the capitalist system. But if you don't like it, then go up to the local person who's been displaced by technology and just give them some money. You'd rather do that than to stop progress and to stop the lower costs. Everybody wants to have the best quality product at the cheapest price. This is the way that it happens. It's because of the progress it's made.
I travel a lot, and I made the mistake one time of being at one of the major airports on the day they decided to cut everything over to the kiosk, and they eliminated a lot of their employees. Bad day. A sandstorm happened to come through and knock all the computer systems out, and there were no people there to help people get to where they needed to be. Whereas a human that were, if they had all the human employees, all of our stuff would have been processed. We all would have made our flights on time. So I just want to say it's not a perfect system. It's just not.
I think what a lot of people have to remember, AI does have the capability of replacing jobs, but it was actually designed to enhance the jobs that people were already doing. So if someone, let's say, for example, let's use the example like that Kim was just using. So you'd have the kiosks to do all the typing people's names in and all that sort of stuff, doing the security checks. That can make it that process a hell of a lot faster, but you still have the people interacting with it as well. So I think it should be used in support of the jobs that are already there, not to replace the jobs.
Exactly.
All right, I love all of that. We do need a very quick break, and we're going to make it a very quick one because I want to get back and have as absolutely maximum time we can. It's Edge Radio Australia, back in just a tick.
There's some really interesting news coming out from the European Central Bank.
Ooh, what's going on there?
It's saying that many banks in Europe are going to cloud-based computing and servers as opposed to their own servers, and it's costing them.
I've heard this.
So they ran a
breach.
survey.
Can anyone else say data breach?
They ran a survey among the banks and its supervisors, 22 inspections since 2020, tested how prepared the banks are dealing with things like hacks and aging systems and contractors falling short of what they promised. And in this area, apparently it costs the banks 148 million euros, which equates to 160.59 million in 2022. That's a 360% increase from the previous year.
Wonder who's going to pay for that.
And that's as a result of the unavailability of poor quality of outsourced services. And you're worried about your data being breached. How many hacks have we had in Australia? That's happening in Europe. I'd love to know how much of our banking system is actually being in the cloud as opposed to their own servers.
No doubt about it.
Well, whose cloud, first of all? Is it Amazon's cloud? Is it Microsoft's cloud? Is it Google's cloud? No, whose cloud is it?
Whose cloud, right?
Right. Can
I think it's from the local pot shop, to be honest.
Add some zeros to the end of the balance.
I just want to quickly show everyone something. So this is Weber Insurance Services.
Yep.
So this is the list of breaches in Australia, and I've got just the 2023 list because it's too big otherwise. So there's all the other lists you want to see. So we'll just go down some of these companies. So DP World, interesting name. But anyway, moving on. Alfred Hospital, Digital Patient Pathways, what's that? Super SA, and then we start getting to some really, really cool ones. Sony, Royal Women's Hospital, Network Pacific Real Estate, HWL Ebsworth, Pizza Hut. I'm interested in the Pizza Hut data breach. I don't get that one. Australian Federal Police. So we're still in September. This is within the last
Australian Federal Police.
Dimmick's Bookstore.
Right.
University of Sydney, American Express.
Yep.
Okay, so we're still going. We're only Tesla. We're still in August at the moment. So if we're going down, Department of Veterans Affairs. So Chat GPT, Victorian State Government, MyGov in July. So NDIS, that's the Disability Services in Australia. PayPal, Department of Home Affairs. So we're now in July. So if you're going down these things like
the South Australian Liberal Party,
Australian Defence Force, a Russian cyber hack, compromised top secret defensive data in historic breach. Like, was that in the media? I don't know about you guys.
No.
But I never saw
Wait,
it.
I see the USA electoral voting system in there somewhere. No, I'm just kidding.
So PwC, that one was all over the media. Northern Territory government,
ACT
Toyota,
government.
Ambulance Victoria,
go
Medibank.
back. A VPN got data breach. So that says a lot, doesn't it, for people that are using VPNs to try to remain anonymous? Is it just go back a couple of bit further?
Yeah, okay.
Super VPN.
Super VPN.
Here you go, a free VPN service.
Oh, okay.
360 million records being exposed to the public, according to a new report.
It's not
So
much
only
of
a lazy.
VPN.
That's more than people in Australia.
That's not
So
much of
this
a
is what I'm-
VPN if it's on the cloud, and a lot of people understand this. If you want to learn more, there's a RSA conference, which is one of the world's largest cybersecurity conferences. What you're discussing is something that became a huge problem here in the United States with our hospitals and universities. And I kept telling them, do not go to the cloud, and they would not listen. And they were getting hundreds and thousands of breaches every day. They finally went back to a virtual. You're still safer on a VPN. You are still safer.
We've got Optus on there. Very interesting. Now that the relatively young female CEO has actually stood down.
Yes, this morning.
The front runner for it is none other than former New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian, who I thought was a good Premier, despite the allegations. I thought she was a good Premier, and at the time, I actually thought she was Prime Ministerial material. But in any case, looks like she's a front runner to be the new CEO of Optus, should she dare to take on the role.
Hey, Shat, I just want to quickly highlight on something. So we're only maybe a third through the list if you have a look here. So you can keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and there's hundreds and hundreds. Victorian Police, GoDaddy was there, South Australian Ambulance Services, My SA Gov going down, Twitch got nailed, Uber got done in 2016 update, Department of Education, Ray White, which is a real estate agent, New South Wales Health, Air India. It just goes on and
Facebook.
on and on and on and on. And so for the people watching online, so I'm just scrolling down. I think I'm nearly three quarters of
the ones in there that really worry me. You go back up and see, you see the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trust and Trade. You see the Department of Veteran Affairs. I thought there was something there with the military. These are the really big issues, because it's bad enough that we're all subject to identity fraud and all that sort of stuff. But when our national security services start being attacked or potentially attacked, that's a real problem. It's a problem for the US as well. And I think we've got to be very careful and start thinking about exactly how we're actually going to to manage all of this. And now I'm going to contradict what I just said about not being worried about AI. AI is going to make it presumably a lot easier for hackers because it's an extension of, it's a tool that people can use to make their jobs easier. So if you're trying to hack, perhaps AI is going to make your life a lot easier.
Write the code to do it.
Now, sorry guys, I've just got to interrupt for a sec because what we need to do is we need to actually end the show on edgeradioaustralia.com. But if you're enjoying the conversation online, or for that matter, you're listening to Edge Radio right now as radio, jump online, watch us on YouTube, and I think we'll just keep the conversation going for a bit. Yeah,
YouTube, Facebook,
so if you give me a couple of minutes,
Twitch.
I will switch over things, make all the magic happen, but definitely keep this conversation going on the socials. Yeah,
no, we'll keep going. You just wrap up.
Beautiful. All right, it's Edge Radio Australia. Thanks very much, guys. It's been, of course, the Greater Wealth.